Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is the Bat Châtillon 155 It's the Tier 9 French SPG. It's located on the southwest spawn of Highway under the command of Angelina. Oh, it's not Angelina, it's talon1958 of OLIMP. Yep, it's game on. Yes, I think you saw the mobility device. He's also got a rammer and a gun lane driver as far as I can see. That had me fooled for a second. I thought it was Angelina's game, but no, this is one of the games that didn't get recorded before I was ill, and I have more news on that in a short while. So it's a very, well, not very old. It's actually from mid-August, this game. In fact, we got 3 games from mid-August from the couple, and so this should be a bit of fun. Now it's the one-shot autoloader with 680 alpha from 155mm howitzer, 48mm of pen, 7.6 meters on the burst radius. Well, it looks like the enemy managed to get up without being spotted because our team weren't looking for him, but he's been spotted now. That's the place to aim at, because if he's going to pull back suddenly to avoid shells, that's where... Oh, and there he goes, and he's in position. Oh, well, we actually hit the Sharp Future 4, but I think we also potentially damaged one of our teammates in the process as he was ramming him. So the IS-7 killed the Sharp Future, but unfortunately I think we may have blotted our copybook, and that means that we probably won't be getting a high caliber, because yes, he accidentally hit one of his teammates. Okay, now we've got an IS-4. He fires the round in. A good shot landed on the other side of the IS-4, so our teammate didn't get badly damaged, but he did get stunned again. So the IS-4 took most of the damage though, and we got stun assist off that one. Now the reload is fairly quick. It's 23.68. The normal reload is 28.76. He fires the round in, stuns the GeForce tank. Talon looking round for another target. Unfortunately, the IS-4 kills our Object 2684, but we're almost loaded, so I think he's going to be able to get revenge, or at least go for somebody else. The IS-4 is hiding behind that building at the moment, so, and that GeForce's gone, so we're doing well. We're 2 up on the enemy, and he fires in at the IS-4, and does get some stun, but unfortunately doesn't get much in the way of damage. In fact, none at all. Okay, he's changed position because he hasn't been moving that much. But look, we can see this GW Tiger who wasn't really paying attention, and he just got nuked by our standard B. There's the other enemy, Arty, the M53. He was focusing on hitting our IS-4, well, standard B rather, and as a result, he took a shell from Talon. It's a fast and furious game, and the enemy is still 3 down. Now we're reloading because we didn't kill the M53, even though we got a direct hit. He's still got some hit points left, but not for long. Even a near miss is probably going to be lethal. In fact, it was a direct hit, and he's out the game, so that's Talon's first kill. Now our teammates are actually doing quite well, because even though we lost one of them over on that side of the battlefield, they're now about to mob the enemy that's remaining, and I think he won't last very long because they'll double team him. Meanwhile, we're following this Udas, who suddenly stopped to take a shot and takes a round up his rear for 655. That's a penetrating shot. And now our teammates are starting to lay into that Udas. And he's gone. So it's quite a good battle so far for our team, because we're 6 up on the enemy, and the only remaining enemy are actually in the town or on the outskirts of it. And we're looking on the outskirts. Yes, they're running back to their cap because they realise the cap could be taken. He fires around at the IS-32, tracks him and stuns him, but he gets rid of the stun very quickly. We've lost sight of one of them. Now, can we get the shot on the IS-32? He's pulling back, but he's doing that. He's pulling back to reload and then pulls forward to take his shot. So we aim the shot where we think it's going to go. Yeah, perfect shot. Right on target. The IS-4 in the meanwhile went under the bridge. He's backing up, but he's backing towards our teammates. He's using the bridge as a protector. Unfortunately, we just lost the Standard B, but they lost their IS-3 too, and that went down to the Kunstpanzer, and now we've just got this IS-4 and a couple of tanks in town. That one stunned him, and he can't get rid of the stun this time. And he's up against a Kunstpanzer and a Foch B, who's actually firing from the town, and our other Arty as well. The other Arty on our team is an FB3805. Okay, so we almost loaded. Rounds out. Well, got more stun, and we're getting the stun assist. That's the thing about these tier 8, tier 9, and tier 10 battles. You tend to get stun assist. The only remaining enemies are now in the town, and there's only 2 of them left. Both heavy tanks. We've decided we're going to go for the Object 452, and Talon has marked the target. That's it. He just got smacked by the FB. That one lands behind him. He's up against our ST2, who's actually angling well. But let's see if we can get another bit of stun on him. Almost there. Okay, now rounds out. Lands behind him again and stuns him again. The ST2 taking the advantage, I think. We've got some nice stun assists there again. Unfortunately, our M103 actually moved up and got wiped out, but we did get the other enemy ST2. So this guy is the last enemy tank alive, and now we're face-hugging him to try and take him out. Now it's going to be difficult, so he needs to put the shell behind the enemy so he doesn't harm his teammate, otherwise he might go blue. He fires the round in. Oh! Now the kill doesn't go to us, but in fact we didn't get any damage at all with that last shot. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the first class tanker for talon1958 of OLIMP in the Bat Chat 155-55. He managed to get a bruise in the middle for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 6, and he got a win rate of 2021, which is very good. In fact, it was impressive that it was a first class. He was getting lots of damage on the enemy, lots of hits, and he did get a kill. If we look at the team score, we can see he was about mid-table on damage. He got 1,830. The top scorers in the game actually turned out to be this guy. The 121B got 3,988 hit points. That's a very good premium medium tank, the 121B. Very much like the T54. It bounces rounds off it very easily. Second highest player was, in fact, the Object 452K we saw destroyed at the end of the game. He got 3,951. And the third highest was their Gonkovitska, who got 3,252. When it came to kills, we can see that the top scorer was the IS-7 with 3. The 121B got 2, so did the Kunstpanzer, M103 and Standard B. Only the 452K on the enemy team managed to get 2 kills, and Talon only got 1. When it came to base XP, though, he did so much stun assist. That's why he's got a first class, but he's actually second, because the top scorer was the Kunstpanzer with 1,003. Then we've got Talon with 980, and third place the IS-7 with 976. He fired 14 rounds, so he got a decent amount of ammunition out and fired as quickly as he could to get the next shot in. 5 direct hits on the enemy, 2 penetrating shots, and 13 splash. 1,830 hit points of damage, all of it at more than 300 meters. Now, I suspect the M103, M53 rather, was one of the, it is one of the penetrating shots. Now, if I remember correctly, the shot, oh, that wasn't it. No, it was the Udas who got a penetrating shot up the rear. Yes, 655 hit points. So 2 good penetrations in that game. He damaged 6 of the enemy, killed 1, so missed out on getting a Confederate medal by just 1 tank, and 3,143 hit points of stun assist off 12 stuns, and that's why it's a first class, because he did so well on stun assist. On a premium count, he actually made 121,105 credits from the game, and that includes a 90,000 credit bonus for mission completion, 25 bonds for another mission completion, and 2,940 experience points. So, yeah, first game back after he was ill, Talon managed to get a really good result. I suppose now, after, because of course Talon was away for a while, and I was away for a while, and I now need to update you what's actually happening. I actually have heard from the consultant now at last, and he wants to do a CT scan of my heart, because there are problems and he needs to decide exactly what they're going to do. It could be a matter of actually replacing a heart valve. It could even be a heart transplant, but we don't know just yet because he's got to visualize the heart before he can make a decision over what's going to happen next. What I can say is the reason why I have been feeling ill, well, the doctors did do numerous blood tests, and I kept wondering why they kept doing those blood tests. And it turns out that the level of a particular peptide that I actually have in my body, which is a peptide you get when the heart is damaged, is actually rather high. A normal person at my age should only have about 450 units of this peptide. And if you're in heart failure, it should be around about 900. My level is 1,368. So I think you can see the doctor's probably wondering why I haven't had a heart attack already. And in fact, it's entirely possible I already have had heart attacks, but just didn't recognize them for what they were. I probably just felt very, very ill and waited and rested in my chair whilst I was doing generating videos, because that's when it did tend to happen. And I just waited until I felt better, or I went to bed and recovered that way. But once it got better, I was able to start work again. But it may have been that I actually did have heart attacks, and I can think of at least 2 instances where that happened. And so, yes, that's why there's so much of that particular protein in my blood. And I think it's called neuriuretic protein or peptide. That's it, beta neuriuretic peptide. And it's quite a high level of the material. So, yes, I'm a bit concerned myself when I finally saw that result, because they hid that from me. They didn't tell me until it actually came in the doctor's notes from the consultant that I actually did have a very high level of that. And that's one of the reasons why the consultant now wants to do the CT, because he's a bit worried that I'm possibly going to pop my clogs fairly quickly. Anyway, that aside, at least now we do know what's going on. We know why I've actually had a lack of ability to move about, and we'd also know from the CT, the ultrasound scan, that I do actually have blood going back through the valves the wrong way. So that's why when I'm out and about, I can't move very far before I have to stop and rest for a while. In fact, I can only walk for about 50 yards, and then I have to stop for a few minutes to get my breath back. So yes, that's the reason why. And that's only happened in the past 3 to 4 years. So I used to have a very fit, and I used to be able to run. Not anymore, unfortunately. But there you go. So at least we know what's going on. I will keep you updated as soon as I get any new information. And of course, my family all know about it, so they're keeping an eye on me, just in case I do pop my clogs overnight. And I'm sure that they will notify everyone as soon as it does happen, if it does, so if the worst happens. So anyway, that'll keep you up to date. Now let's have a look at the second replay. The second replay is in the M53 M55, the Tier 9 American SPG. We're located on the south spawn of Siegfried Line, and this time round it is Angelina75 of OLIMP, Talon's partner, and she's got company. Yes, there's another M53 M55 fighting. She's got the improved rammer and vents and the bounty gun lane drive. Game on. 2 marks of excellence. So, yes, Angelina really likes this Arty and she does well in it. Standard reload, 14.27 seconds. Angelina's got 32.09. It's the 8-inch howitzer. It's capable of doing 900 alpha, and it has 52 millimeters of pen with 10.5 meters on the burst radius. Look at that. Goes exactly where she wants him to. Oh, she smacks him. Oh, that was a penetrating shot with her first round on the Minotauro. He's not going to be happy about that. Yeah, it's so funny when you take out an enemy tank with your first shot or hit an enemy tank and get a penetrating shot. It's so annoying for them. Oh, 2 tanks together. Always like that because you're going to get double damage. Yep, they both take damage from that shot. Angelina moving. It's rather unfortunate that he moved directly in front of Angelina, because if there was somebody looking to try and get a counter battery, he's the one that's going to get affected. Oh, my favourite spot. They go to this spot, it makes it so easy for you to get a hit. But Angelina decides that Kampfpanzer III looks even better. But yes, when the Minotaur goes here, he doesn't realise this is actually a very dangerous position to be in. Rounds out. Lost 284 out of that one. It's a very good spot because, of course, those tanks think that they're safe because they've got walls either side and there's somewhere for them to retreat to. But it doesn't work out so well when an Arty comes in from above and smacks them. Okay, this M48's moving about. Both enemy Artys are firing at our guy, and the pattern does get hit for 340. There he is. You can see that other tanks are firing at our Centurion Action 10. Let's see what we can do. Almost ready. Yes, they do hit our Action 10. Unfortunately, he loses some hit points off that one. But let's see what we can do to this guy. Rounds out. Yep, he loses 305 this time. Nice repositioning. Unfortunately, the Centurion Action 10 does die. We now mark this M48 pattern as our next target. We've got a UDIS watching him and an E3. Let's see what we can do. Rounds out. Just hits the roadway. Now, Angelina's decided she needs to relocate a little further inland, and I think that's probably a good reason. Even though she's got 3 teammates out in the field who can actually help her, and plus that Conway and the E3, I think she's just hedging her bets, just in case the enemy does decide to make a rush of it. Oh, now we know where one of the enemy Arty is. Yep, one of them's out in the field, in the corner. They've just lost their UDIS. And now the Foch 155 comes around the corner. Rounds out. It hits the building. Okay, so he is getting a request. Unfortunately, we lost the E100. And Angelina is now relocating further inland. Okay, we're right up against the back of the map. And there's an Object 705 that she might be able to hit. And there's Fizz 55. Okay, let's see what we can do with him. Rounds out. Direct hit. 147. Now, he got rid of the stun immediately after they hit. So, Unfortunately, no stun showing on the vehicle, even though there were stun shells fired. Okay, there's several enemy tanks we can strike. Go for the 705. Oh, wow! That wasn't us. Rounds out. Oh, that's a hit. 418 from that one. That was good. But that 705 detonated. Somebody, it was actually the Waffenträger auf Panzer IV, put a shell into him and it hit the ammo rack and he just blew his top. Now, we don't need to worry about what's going on in the field now, because that M48 that we saw earlier, he has now been wiped out. You can see our teammate has actually gone up onto the hill, and he's not alone. He's got two teammates with him, plus the UDAS is spotting ahead of us. So now we've gone back to the original position, and we just saw the Foch 155 going round the corner, so he's not in that little corridor at the gate, so we can't get him there. In fact, the town appears to have fallen to the enemy. None of our tanks in the town now. And there's that Kampfpanzer III. Okay. Oh, well, that's the end of him. He got taken out by the Phoenix. And... oh, it's the name of the player, actually. He was it a Phoenix? It was a Phoenix, actually. Of course, that's the new name for the Waffenträger auf E100. Or the rebirth of it. Okay, no sight of the enemy at all. We have got eyes there. The Leopard prototype can spot one or several of the exits. And our Waffenträger is moving, though. He's changing position. I think the guys on the K line, or the K row rather, need to start moving forward. We're two up on the enemy. It looks like they've got at least 3 tanks in the town, which means there's only 3 tanks defending the rear. One of those is possibly the Foch and the other 2 Arty. So I think we've got the room and the ability to move up on the enemy. And I think that's why the Phoenix is making a quick dash up the 1 column. Leopard is taking a bit of a risk moving into the town. I get the feeling the enemy has actually gone entirely defensive. They're now worried that our team is going to start pushing on them. Can't see any tracer, but there's 2 enemy Arty. We know one of them is in A1 for certain. We saw the tracer coming from that direction. He's over by the trees. So we could actually start firing rounds into that corner in the hope that we can actually dislodge him, and then the Phoenix might get the kill. But one of the enemy does get spotted. It's the Foch. We're dialing in as quickly as we can. That's our friend with the M53. We fire around in, and a direct hit for 441. That's a good one. Yes, Triv 103B has also realised that they need to start moving. Oh, he died fairly quickly. And yes, the M53, M55 and the enemy team was in the corner at A1. Probably behind the trees. That's the usual position. So now they're down to just 4 and they're facing twice as many tanks on our team. I believe that means that our teammates are now free to get into the enemy rear and start doing some really major damage on them. We're looking at the Foch 155. He's on that corner. We can't get a shot, but the Conway takes a huge hit from the Foch. And in fact, we do lose the Conway. He got rammed. But they've just lost another one, and now they're down to just 3 tanks, facing 7 on our team. So Angelina's realised now she can move up to a better position. She can see the E5 rather. No, she's not loaded yet, but oh, there's somebody she can definitely hit. Just gonna let it dial in. It's the M55. There he is. He stopped to take a shot. Or did he? Well, he got stunned at the very least. But unfortunately, one of our teammates, the only one who can shoot him is the Leopard. The FV3805 has been spotted, but neither of our Arty are actually able to spot or able to fire on him at the moment because we're on the move. And there goes the FV. So now it's down to just 2 enemy facing 3 times the number of players on our team. Well, they managed to get one back because they got the E5. But now that M55 is in trouble. He's gone. Angelina might have a Confederate, and I think that was it. The game's over and she's won. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was a second-class tank of angelina75 OLIMP in the M53 M55. She got a Bruiser Medal for getting at least 5 critical hits in this game. She managed to get 6, and she got a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on her team. Her win 8 was 2,628, which is Unicum standard. Let's have a look at team score. Well, it's not the highest damage. That went to the Bosch 155, who managed to get a high caliber for 6,215 hit points of damage. The second highest was the E5 on the enemy team, 4,372. And the third highest, well, that was the Strip 103B on our team with 3,104. Angelina got the Confederate, and the Phoenix got a Pescucci, so he must have killed both enemy SPGs. And our fellow Arty also got a Confederate, so he must have got the same sort of numbers or same sort of amount of enemy tanks that were damaged over and above the ones they killed. If we look at the number of kills, we can see that the highest was the Phoenix, who managed 5 kills. 3 kills went to the Udas 03 and the Bosch 155 on the enemy team. Others had only 2 or 1. Angelina didn't get any kills at all, and neither did her teammate in the other Arty. And when it came to base XP, Angelina managed to get 792, and she was beaten by the other Arty, who got 839 out of this one. But the top scorer overall was the Wizzy 111 Model 5A, who managed 1,020. Angelina fired 12 shots in this game. She got 6 direct hits and 1 penetrating shot, 9 splash. 3,008 hit points of damage, all of it at more than 300 meters. She damaged 6 of the enemy, killed 0, and got 858 stun assists off 10 stuns. On a premium count, she made 69,566 credits, including 50,000 for mission completion, and she got 2,376 experience points out of the game as well. So a pretty good game, but it still would have meant that Talon, with his Bat Chat game, would have been in the lead for getting a first-class tanker instead of a second-class tanker. So Angelina needs to play catch-up in order to beat Talon on this particular week. This game was a few days after the previous one by Talon. So we've got one more game to show you out of this match, so let's have a look at that one. The third game is in the Grille, the Tier 5 German SPG, and it's not from Angelina, this one. It's from talon1958, which means that Talon did win the contest of the first game that he actually put in. In this one, we can see that he's got chocolate. We don't know the equipment, but we do see he's got 2 marks of excellence on that 15-centimeter barrel. Game on. Talon, like me, actually likes the Tier 5 German, and I must agree, it is actually quite good fun. Although it does have a fairly narrow arc of fire, so it does make it difficult to try and get good results from it. Of course, based on the Marder hull, it's a end-of-war design. They made them in 1943 to 1944, and they only made 282 of them in total. Okay. Starting to aim. Now he's got 480 alpha with 38 millimeters of pen, 6.7 meters on the burst radius. He's anticipating that the enemy is going to move up fairly quickly. Now, he can reach this guy. It's a long way away. It's a VK3601H. Rounds out. Well, we stunned him. Now, one of the good things about this Arty is it does have a fairly fast reload. The standard reload, 22.53, with Talon's skill, he's actually got that down to 18.25 seconds per shot. So it's a fast reload, and it's it does a fair bit of damage. Okay, decides he's going to go for the KD1. Gets 161. He's going to focus on the heavies for the moment, but this guy sitting out here in the field, well, he's actually not in the field, but actually at the entrance to the gully, and he gets stunned. Okay, we've gone back to that KD1. He's got the concentration skill working. Seems to be a lot of kills going in elsewhere. 63 of splash. Now he's getting a little close to those tanks now. He might have to pull back if he's going to get a shot over the rocks. He is too close, actually. He suddenly realised that the KV-1's gone, but there is still that VK3601H, but he is a one-shot if we can put the shell on him. Now, it's getting a red line, which means something is blocking the shot, and I think it's those rocks up ahead. Now, he's moving over here, but he might get spotted if he moves too far over. That's it. He's trying to shorten the time between spotting or shooting and get the enemy getting hit, because the faster the shell reaches the target, the more likely he's going to get a hit. Well, the enemy's been wiped out on this side of the battlefield, and Talon's now going to follow his teammates, which I'm sure they'll appreciate, because you don't often see an Arty player following your tanks around the battlefield and shooting from behind them at the enemy. Okay, this is a good spot. Doesn't appear to be anyone shooting at the T150 as he moves out. There's only 6 enemy remaining. Now we're aiming where the Skoda T25 was last seen. In fact, nobody's defending this corner, so we can move up. Firing on the Skoda. No, he's not there. They're down to just 5 now. One of those is a tank destroyer, the Dicamax, with a 105mm main gun. There's the Skoda. He's actually way over the other side. Again, we're too close to that rock at the moment. Oh, the Hellcat took some damage there. So somebody is looking at the Hellcat, and they're firing with a 75mm gun, and there they are. There's the Dicamax and the ARMT. I think it was the ARMT that hit the Hellcat. He only lost 110 hit points. This guy would do a lot more damage. And in fact, that was a good shot because it landed next to the Dicamax. RNG made it go elsewhere, but oh, this Dicamax is going to pop. And he's gone. We're in a perfect position to put shells behind that rock and get the SU-122A. And that was a nice hit. Only 3 enemy remaining. They lost the SU-122A. No, we're too close to the rock. Well, he's still going to try and fire from that position. The barrel can actually get up over the rock, but I thought it was too close. But he's going to give it a go. Rounds out. Direct hit. 479. That was a penetrating shot. And that means there's only 1 enemy remaining. And that happens to be the T20. So it looks like he's right over in the corner. And we've got a red line there. Oh, now we can get him. Just. Yes, it's that rock there. It's the cliff right next door to him, which is actually causing the problem. So Talon is motoring along with his gun held aloft. But I get the feeling he's going to arrive and the enemy's going to have gone. In fact, he has just died. And that is the end of the battle. And it's a win for Talon. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the second-class tank of a talon 1958 of OLIMP in the Grille. He managed to get a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 5 exactly. His win rate on this one, 1,918, which is very good. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, we can see he in the top part of the table. The highest damage in the game turned out to be the T20, who actually picked up a high caliber and a tank sniper for 2,840 hit points. Second highest damage was our Panther with 1,954. And the third highest damage, well, that was our Hellcat with 1,418, but he didn't survive the game. Our Fifi managed to get a Confederate medal. And there's Talon in 5th place on damage on the team, but not 5th damage overall. He's actually in 7th damage overall in the game. So let's have a look at the kills. We can see top scorer, the Panther, got 5. The T150 got 3. Everyone else got 2. Talon didn't get any kills at all, but he did get damage. But when it came to base XP, he's about mid-table with 469. The top scorer being the Panther, the Hellcat, and then the T150, the Panther being the only one to get over 1,000 base at 1,284. Talon fired only 8 shots in the entire game, but he got 2 direct hits and 1 penetrating shot and 6 splash. Damage of 965 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. Damage for the enemy, didn't get any kills, but he got 405 hit points of stun assist off 7 stuns. On a premium count, he actually made 127,057 credits overall, including 105,000 for mission completion and 1,407 experience points out of it as well. And it was a relatively fast game with only 7 minutes to 32 seconds. So yes, that ends the ones from the previous, or not quite the previous client, but it's from mid-August that these games came back. And I'm pretty sure Talon actually would have won that week because, of course, his first game in the Bat Chat 155-55. Yes, because he did get a first class in that one, and Angelina wasn't able to catch up. But Angelina has subsequently won it. So, yes, I think she's getting her own back on him. So, in fact, it shows that he's back and he's still fighting. He's, of course, as you know, Talon's had skin cancer and he's still in recovery. We're hoping he's going to get a full recovery, full remission, and everything will be fine. We're very glad to have him back, and Angelina. So I'll try and keep up to date as much as I can, but I will give you advance notice when I do have any operations on the heart, or if anything actually does happen. I'll try to get as many replays done if I am going to be in hospital for a while. so that you've got something to lean back on whilst I'm away, because I will probably be recuperating whilst that's going on. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please give this video a like, and thank you for watching.